Yep. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our Dealer Masterclass Season 3, Episode 2. I'm Calvin, Head of Sales from Carlis.mine. And today's topic will be creative. And as usual, we have our guest, Aaron Fu, our Head of Product Strategies. So due to some technical issue, I think Aaron is trying to connect. So hope everyone can wait for a while. Creative, be creative. Wow, this is an interesting topic for today. So I believe that there's a lot of way that we can get more sales, but there's always a rule of thumb: be creative in a legit way. So that is why we always try to advise our dealer and sales agent. All right. So, dear dealer and sales agent, due to some issue regarding about our guest Aaron's from the internet connection, we will be coming back shortly to fix the technical issue. Sorry for that. Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Dealer Masterclass Season 3, Episode 2. I'm Kelvin, Head of Sales from Carlis.mine. So today's topic will be creative. And as usual, as everyone's been following since our Episode 1, today we have Aaron Fu, our Head of Product Strategy. So Aaron, first thing first, how are you lately?
I'm sorry, but I can't hear you, Calvin.
Yes, now you can hear me? Due to internet connections. Oh, I think Aaron will need to reconnect again. Sorry, everyone, for the technical issue. So we will be right back shortly. Thank you. Hi, we are back. So yeah, Aaron, is everything fine over there?
Yeah, finally I can hear you, and finally my internet's back.
Great. Yeah, so I mean, like what I mentioned earlier, today will be our Dealer Masterclass Season 3, Episode 2. And today's topic will be creative. So before we even start about this topic, how are you lately, Aaron?
Oh wow, it's been it's been very busy. I think for iCar, Carlist.my, I think we've been really busy. We've been really trying to push out more things for you guys, especially for car dealers towards this year end, because I think this is the time. If you want to chase for yourself, this is the time. So we are doing our best as well, and I'm pretty sure Kelvin is on that side is also sweating because he's been busy the whole day as well.
Yes. That's only like one objective you are trying to achieve, your dealer and sales agent: sell more cars. So yeah. So regarding about bring more sales, get more sales is all about this season 3. And today's topic, like I mentioned earlier, be creative. So talking about be creative, that's what our current account management team always try to, educate our dealer. Be creative in the legit way. So definitely that's where the confidence level being built up. That's where all the trusted dealer bash, getting confidence from the consumer to like conversion. We always say the sales conversion. When you have the
Right.
perfect advertisement, creative in a legit way, that's where you can get more calls. From calls, that's where the leads come in. Right?
Right, absolutely. It's like
Hmm.
you really need to stand out among the whole crowd, right? Because everybody is chasing for that sale right now. And if you really want to be the person who sells that car, you need to stand out from the rest. But of course, the legit is so important. Like if you're not being a legit person, if you're putting something which is fake out there and people call you about it and it turns out to be not real, it's going to be very disappointing for the car buyer. So part of which it really needs to be legit as well. But today's topic, I think, is going to be very interesting. Part of it being creative.
Yep.
In terms of being creative wise, I think iCar, we have quite a lot of ways of being creative. But I think today itself, we'll talk a little bit more about how can you really be creative in making sure people can see your ad through quite a number of different techniques. And we're going to cover things like Zmod. I'm not sure if you guys have heard Zmod before. Zmod is this thing which Google actually created a couple of years back. And it's something which really brings to the attention, how do you get car buyers in today's internet generation? Then we'll talk a little bit about photos on what car buyers are really looking forward to. And last but not least, if we have the time, we'll also dive into what standards does CMCO have and what do people need during this CMCO. So it should be quite an interesting evening we have here.
Yep. So yeah, talking about Zmod, ZMOT. What does that stand? It's like it's kind of jargon,
Right. Yeah. Zmod, I'm pretty sure if I say Zmod, it sounds very weird. It's not a normal word, right? ZMOT stands for Zero Moment of Truth. I actually do
Which
have some
means,
slides
yeah.
as well. Because I
Alright.
think if I just say zero moment of truth, it's like, what is zero moment of truth, right? So let me just share my screen a bit.
Sure.
Okay, nice. So the whole idea about zero moment of truth is really to understand the user buying behavior. Because if you think about how the car buyers used to buy cars years ago, this is what the normal traditional 3-step marketing model is. So bear in mind, the zero moment of truth is not something we created. It's something from Google. Google created this years ago. The idea is that starting, you need a stimulus to make people interested to buy your product. Then after that, the first moment of truth will come in, which is normally you go to the shop and you see the car, you touch the car. The second moment of truth is you experience it, which means you test drive the car, right? So you get the attention, and then after that, you have your first moment of truth. And then after that, there is the second moment of truth, which is the test drive. And then after that, they'll buy a car. So this is the traditional way. This is not Zmod.
What we can say is like some sort of like quite similar to buying behavior.
Yeah. So
from
this
how
is
you engage. Yep,
Yeah,
Aaron.
this is like how they've been looking at it for years and years and years. In fact, today itself, a lot of businesses still look at it this way. But what Google say now is that there's actually another step in between this pre-shopping in-store, in-home experience, this Zmod. So even before the first moment of truth, even before the customer goes to the shop, there's something in the middle which decides the customer to buy or not to buy the car already. So remember, like last week, we spoke about how the decision to buy that car happens online. The decision to buy the car is not at the showroom. It's not at the time they see the car. It is behind the computer screen, behind the phone, when they look at the phone, looking at the listing. Because that is where they're actually in the pre-shopping stage. That is a time where they're surveying around, they're looking around and just looking to find the answers they need to make the decision to buy a car. So this is where, if you think about Zmod, right, we really need to dive into a little bit deeper about what what the consumer is thinking at that moment of time, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sound interesting.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit deep, but just hang with me over here. Just keep in mind, just try to remember this, that hey, so I have this car buyer. What is my
Mm-hmm.
car buyer thinking when they want to buy that car? For example, a Pro-Duo MyV. What does a car buyer who wants to buy a Pro-Duo MyV think of when they want to buy a Pro-Duo MyV?
There's definitely a lot of factors factor in budget wise,
Yes.
maintenance wise,
Yes.
installment, all these
Yes.
things. Yeah, it come into
Right.
a factor to buying a car.
Yes. So all these are actually questions which the consumer would ask. And if you think about it, like I think Myvis, Axia, these cars are a lot of fresh graduates who want to buy that car. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
start thinking that, hey, you know what? If I'm a fresh grad, if I'm somebody who have this limited budget and I want to buy Axia and Prodo Myvi, what are some of the questions I want to know about the car, which is important to me? Because if you think about it, right, somebody who wants to buy a BMW versus buying a Myvi, whatever they are asking is very different, right?
Yep.
BMW, oil lang, oil tang.
Mm.
Myvi, they want to make sure that's affordable and something which they can actually
Afford,
last.
yeah,
Yeah,
last
and
and affordable.
yes, absolutely.
Mm.
So that's one of the main concerns for Zmod.
Zima, okay.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, actually, I can dive in more about this as well. So let me just dive in a little
Mm.
bit more.
All
So
right.
this goes a little bit out of Zmod, but it gives us a better understanding of the consumer as well. So last week we spoke about how in Malaysia, car buyers take about 3 months to decide to buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually a research done by Google. And what Google did was that they actually broke down the consumer journey between they want to buy a car from 1 year all the way to a few moments, which means like a few seconds to decide to buy a car. So you see, 7% of people, they take over a year to decide to buy a car. So they call you today, they might take
Mm-hmm.
1 year later before they decide to buy a car, a very long cycle. Some people, 10% is 7 to 12 months. 4 to 6 months, 70%. 2 to 3 months, 23%. So that is where, if you think about the user journey itself, it is not something which they wake up in the morning, want to buy the car. It's a
Yeah.
journey which they need to follow through. So we notice here, if you're expecting the car buyer to convert right away, you're talking about that 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 2%, maybe
Chances
3%.
is very low lah for that to have the
Yeah.
conversion, right?
Yeah. So
Mm.
it's so important that now that you understand the consumer, that hey, you know what, they don't convert right away. It's a journey. Then you need to start understanding that journey of the consumer. If that person is interested to buy a MyV and on average it takes 3 months, what are some of the questions that person might need to find out during that whole 3 months to buy that car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually another one from Google. I actually plugged this in quickly. What we find out here is that on average, based on Google research, a car buyer will go to 18.2 sources to look for a car. So 18.2. So imagine if a consumer looks at 18 different advertisements before they decide to buy a car, right? So this is where we have a huge chunk of consumers who come to our website. We have a lot of information there, and we need to make sure that it stands out among all these other car buyers. So if within the 18 ads, what makes you stand out is really the relationship you can build with the consumer. So going back to Zmod,
Mm-hmm.
Zmod allows you to create that relationship with the consumer, right? So once you understand that it takes a long period of time, there are a lot of competition out there. There are 18 sources of where the consumer could actually go and grab those information from. You need to stand out. Then it goes to what do consumer actually look at? So we
Net
brief
influence. All
yes.
right.
So what this talks about here is really about what do consumer need so that they are more influenced to decide to buy a car. So remember, we spoke a lot of things just now. I think I really shot through quite a number of things. We started off by talking about Zmod, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zmod is the zero moment of truth. The moment somebody is interested to buy a car, they'll appear online, they'll start searching online, find out more information. And these are the questions which the consumer would most likely ask to decide to buy a car. So if you look over here, the number one is actually test drive a car, right? So
Mm-hmm.
of course that is very high lah. I mean, they touched the car already, so quite steady already, right? Number
Mm.
two is they've looked at the automobile, so they kin ko lah, they see
Mm.
already lah. And this is
Yep.
where we allow you like photos and videos on College.my. The third one is actually to request a quote online. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. I'm pretty sure that
Requested a quote online. So how does
best
that mean?
price,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
best price, boss. Hey,
All
what's the best
right.
price?
All
Yeah.
right.
So
All right.
you notice that it's 59% of them. If let's say this 59% of the time they get if let's say you get the customer, they'd say, boss, best price lah. And you
Mm.
answer them, hey, you want best price lah, come to the showroom lah.
Correct.
But remember, the decision is made online. And
Hmm.
if you don't give them the answer online, what's going to happen is that they're going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
So it's so important. So why Zmod is so important is really to understand where the consumer comes from. And if the consumer needs the information like the best price, well, give them the best price you have, because at the end of the day itself, it saves the consumer time, it saves your time, and it is everything more sun lele lah. I mean, you don't need to
Okay.
bounce back and front, right? Because
Mm.
the customer asks you, then you say, hey, come to the showroom. The customer go to the showroom, but then after that, it's not the price which I can afford. Also, the person will be quite disappointed, right? So it's so important that we have that transparency. We allow the consumers to have the capability of having the answer before even going to the showroom. So part of being creative in this whole sense is that, hey, we need to be able to stand out by being as open as possible, right? So actually, you notice all the boxes over here which are framed up, like
Mm-hmm.
comparison, shop online, search the inventory, read the reviews and automobile. These are automobile reviews. Sort information from manufacturer website and all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
These are things which are all online. The one which are not in the box, so there's no box, all these are offline. So
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
a
so it's separated into different colors, right? The
yeah.
dark blue. Yep. So what does that mean?
So the dark blue is actually the below average influence score. So which means that it's not performing as well as the top half. So the top half, the light blue one, these are the
Mhm.
one which are performing very well. This one, it does influence, but not as much as the top part, right? So if you want to focus on getting more car buyers, think
Mhm.
about all this area here. So request a quote online. That's one. So when you're answering people, when people actually throw you a question about your price, be honest with them. Second one
Mhm.
over here is the comparison shop online. So this
Mhm.
is where you really need to stand out among your competition. When they compare, you need to make sure that at the end of the day, you have enough information to move forward with, right?
Yep.
If you don't have enough information, they'll just keep by you and then bye-bye, sorry lah.
Mm.
Search for inventory, that's where Carly's comes in. And the benefit of this is that you have the capability of managing people to see your inventory, your bumps. So every time you bump, you're actually letting customers to see your inventory. So that's also a very important point over there. And the bottom part is the reviews. And reviews, of course, Carlis.my, the team itself produced a lot of car reviews out there for the consumer. But as a dealer, have you thought about what about giving your own professional opinion about your car, right?
Mm.
Imagine every time you're posting up your car ad, right? It doesn't it just states all the basic information with the consumer kind
Mm.
of know already. But what
Mhm.
if you can add your own personal opinion about it? So let's
Mm.
say the MyV, right? The MyV has low mileage and it is very affordable for fresh graduates. So
Mm.
it gives people a little bit more sense that, hey, you know what? I can trust this person because he understand me. He understand. I'm a fresh grad, right? So
Mhm.
I can relate to that. So part of being creative is also to be able to relate to your customer. So when you talk
Mm.
about automobile reviews, don't only just rely on what you see on carlist.my, but you can also create your own reviews, and you can also put it in the information section or the 1 minute video, which you can actually add on to carlist.my as
Yeah,
well.
actually, I mean, the ongoing way that we try to educate our dealer, because if you have like a templated description in your advertisement and only the price speaking, then it will become a price war. Definitely, it's always a price war.
Yeah.
But I mean, like what you mentioned just now, try to like beautify your advertisement beside the price and the pictures.
Yes.
Description does play a big part. So, for example, like because dealer is you yourself, I mean, sales agent is your inventory. Um, you know better because I mean sometimes or for a used car perspective, for example, if there's a trade-in car, dealer already know what are the
Oh
costs that
yeah.
be spent over, how much they have refurbished it and everything. Write it all this into your description because you guys know better than us. So we does always provide services like the traffics, the result on page view and CTR. But at the end
Right.
of the day, you still rely on to our seller to put a description that you guys know of in and out about the car. Like change 4 new tires already,
Oh
full
yeah.
service, you have a whole full record service. I mean, something that you can gain more consumer confidence level. So
Right.
and I definitely agree like what you mentioned. For example, like MPV is suitable for you for travel back hometown. If I mean not regarding about the CMCO situation, and also like something like MyV, the fuel consumptions, based on
Oh
experience, this car
yeah.
is fully tested out. For you to go to point A to point Z within Klang Valley, it will cost you around $30 or whatsoever. So you
Yeah.
can create this kind of story in your descriptions because you guys tested the car. You know what are the things that be refurbished already. Creating some story. I think this is one of the selling point as well. Or else,
Yeah.
customer always come in. All the cars is the same. Description
Yeah.
templated, read everything, then call the dealer only one thing only. Boss, give me the best price.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you mentioned about the MyV fuel consumption, maybe like 30 ringgit can go how far, right? I think that really that really makes me feel confident that hey, okay lah. Now if I drive to work, it only costs me like 50 ringgit a month or something like that, and I feel like okay, well, I can afford like that. So it
Mm,
makes sense to me to buy that MyV if that's the case.
yep.
So that's where I think it's so important that when you're writing that information, even for your video 1 minute video you
Yeah.
can upload itself, highlight all these things because people don't know, or sometimes people know already, but they're just waiting for people to tell them again,
Mm,
and then when they hear it again, like, oh yeah, correct. Both of
yeah.
us think the same, and because both of us think the same, then okay lah, I can trust
Yep.
to buy from you. Yeah.
So
So
yeah. Any more slides to share with us, Aaron, on this part?
I do have more, but maybe we can
All
move
right.
on first, and then we
Okay.
can dive.
So we've been talking about ZMod, zero
Right.
moment of truth. I think on behalf of the dealer and sales agent, this is the moment of truth. So how can you use ZMod in car dealer situations?
Right. I think there are a lot of ways you can use Zmod into car dealer situation. One is that if you talk about photos,
Mm,
I actually wanted to share photos with you guys, but I think photos, I wouldn't have enough time to run through the photos with you guys as a whole. So I'll go to something slightly different. If you want to find out for more information about photos, please do check out iCar Academies. There's actually a video about photos which we released a couple of months back. So do check out that video inside the Facebook group as well, so they can find out more information about photos.
mm,
But what I want to share with you guys is that when you think about Zmod, it's all about answering what does a customer need and how do we answer those questions when the customer are asking it online. So this year is actually a research done by Deloitte. So you know the accounting firm Deloitte, right?
Deloitte, yep.
Yeah, so Deloitte itself did this research about the automotive industry in Asia. And what they found out was that when people are considering to buy the car for the first time, so this is not talking about a new car. It's just that let's say they have never bought a car ever before. The consumer never bought a car before, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the first time they want to buy a car. This is the ranking in terms of what is most important for the car buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the far left, the very big bar on the left, and you
Mm,
put the 8 times there, so it's actually 8 times this bar. The number one reason why somebody would choose to buy a car for the first time is because my family members or dependent can use it. So
everyone can use it.
yes. So it's not just I buy a car for myself, but it's for Sengkayan lah. It's the whole family which needs the car.
Yeah, like especially the wife or girlfriend to driving a sport
Yeah.
car sometimes. All right, got it. Or maybe the child, the son,
Oh
just
yeah.
a fresh grad, driving a dad's car. Okay, okay.
Yeah. And like once you get a new baby, also you get a new baby, then can fit the child safety seat or not? Those kind of things. So it's family members play a very important role. So knowing this itself, in your description, whenever you're actually posting up any information about a car, how does the car actually help the family member, not just the person driving the car itself? Right. So this is one thing to remember. Family members is a very important thing for consumers. The second one is they need larger space. So they need a large vehicle. So they probably before this they were taking public transport and they don't have that much things to carry around. Couldn't carry a lot of things around lah. So now with a car they can actually put more things, can fetch people around. So larger space. Third reason is actually new technology. Fourth is that they can afford to buy or lease a vehicle. So definitely being able to afford the car is very important. The fifth is actually fuel consumption. They want to look at good fuel consumption. And the sixth one is improved reliability and purchase with a better brand image lah. So if you think about like highlighting brand image isn't really that important of a driver for a consumer to decide to buy a car, but it's a lot driven by the surrounding of the person. So the family member itself. But this is just the first time car buyer.
It's kind of sum up between needs versus demand, what you need it more, you need that rather than you demand it. I mean, like the last one, purchasing a vehicle with a better brand and image. I mean, definitely in a question to ask, do you really need it?
Yeah.
So what do you really need it? Oh, well, it's kind of sum up, the demand on the first time car buyer on this part.
Right. And
Cool.
that's where it's so important, right? When you're coming up with your information, you're providing to the consumer, think of it from a family perspective, from the people around you, and write out a description which, let's say that, hey, can fit up to 4 people in the 4 people is a bit later, can fit up to 6 people in the car and can fit your whole family comfortably without worrying about space. So when you're writing information, think from that perspective itself, not just about the person driving the car, because number one, remember, family members or dependents can use it. So think from that perspective.
Yeah, true. It's very true. Whereby consumer when reading, right, they didn't come across the mind, like the wife also can drive. But when the description is there, they read, they find out. Oh yeah, the oh yeah thingy is where it comes in.
Oh yeah.
The descriptions. When everyone's when they're reading things, right, things that will spark up. What is that? Oh yeah, that's the point. So yeah, this is also one of the selling point in the description part. Totally agree on this.
Yeah. So you notice, right? So the first thing which people look for when looking at to buy the first car is the people around them. Then the returning car buyer. So this person has bought a car before, and then now wants to come back and buy another new car. So maybe like change car lah. Interesting thing is that number one is actually new technology available. So when you think about new technologies, it's about the Bluetooth system in the car, the reverse sensor, the reverse camera, the what do you call that? The 360 camera all around.
Maybe the engine performance, the gearbox transmissions, like now having 8 gears transmission.
Oh yeah, smoother engine ride and things like that.
Things are evolved, technology, we always say.
Yeah. So if you're targeting a returning car buyer, this is what you want to highlight to the consumer. You want to highlight what's the new technology there about a car. So when you're taking photo of the car also, right, that tiny little Bluetooth button on the car there, also take photo of that because that's the new technology available. The reverse camera, small one dot behind there, right, take photo of that also because that highlights the new technology available for the consumer as well. So if you want to show off new technology available to consumer, you can take photo of it, you can write about it, and you can tell them how this is going to change their whole experience driving. Because if you just write there 6 gearbox engine, okay, so what? It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, right? Until you say that 6-box engine, so that means your engine is going to be smoother. Then it makes more sense. So one thing you can highlight for returning car buyers is new technology available. And the next one is that they need larger space. So this is where I guess the family fight for
From
lah.
maybe like a married couple got kids already, so
Yeah.
from a sedan to a MPV, a sedan to SUV or something like that, bigger space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is quite interesting because I had a friend who they wanted to she actually drives what's this XV Subaru XV,
Mhm.
and she wanted to change a car to something which was cheaper, so not more expensive than the XV. She wanted something that was cheaper, mainly because her grandparents were growing old and she had to take care of her grandparents, and that's where she wanted a car which was slightly lower and could also accommodate a wheelchair. And
Mhm.
for this itself, she's willing to go for a lower brand, and she needs a new car as well for this. So sometimes when you think about need more space, right, it can be, hey, sometimes I need to move a lot more goods. It could be that, hey, I got kids, maybe I have elderly people to care for, a lot of reasons. So if let's say that car you have can actually accommodate wheelchairs to go in easily, that's something you could highlight as well, right?
Mm.
So there's so many things over there you can highlight. So this
Yeah,
is not one.
conventionally it's all about the golf bag line and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you read through brochures and everything, they were like, I mean, commercially, I mean, like normal as a normal way of publishing, golf set, whether it's straight or vertical or horizontal way to put it to get the measurement. But talking about wheelchair, I mean, definitely this is all the creative way, not a
Yeah.
conventional way. Great, great, great on this
And
part.
wheelchair is something which I think if Kamngam, that person really has that situation and
Mm-hmm.
that person really needs to have a wheelchair inside their car and they
Mm-hmm.
read your advertisement that you mentioned there's wheelchair there, it really have that oh yeah moment or that which you mentioned, the oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
So
right. Okay. So, I mean,
yeah,
these
that
are definitely, I mean, the point that I mean related to returning car buyers. So yeah, Aaron, I think like we have to proceed with another few more questions because we almost run out of time. So I think the next question I need to stop you to throw you in is what kind of promotion based on Zmod?
so these are all the okay. So when we talk about promotion
Mm-hmm.
wise, this is where all this can actually be pulled back to what you're doing here in your business as well. Because when you talk about promotion, right? Every time we talk about having the sale, the discount, and all that kind of thing, but hey, you can also use all this as part of your promotion. One is that if let's say you feel like the technology in your car is new, you can highlight that. If you think that you need larger space, highlight that. But we've also have quite a number of things in car list which can actually help you highlight your promotion. So we do have things like the hot deals, and if you notice right now, if you go to the hot deals section of the website, there's this year-end sale happening right now because we know that now is the time to buy car, right? So we're giving you this very special and limited time year-end sale combo deal. So if you notice that some of the hot deals has this special background, it says year-end deal, please do ask your account manager for it. We can't explain it so much in detail here with you guys, but do ask your account manager what is this year-end combo deal and how can you get it, because part of being creative is that you need to be in trend with the current time. So we know that right now it's 11/11. A lot of big sales are happening out there. How can you highlight and be with the trend?
Mm,
Deepawali is happening right now, right? So how can you be with the Deepawali trend and highlight that, hey, we're having a Deepawali promotion. So
mm,
now is the year end. How can you highlight your year end promotion? One way, well, combo deal. Two is that your description can also include the
mhm,
Deepawali coming up or the 11/11, all these kind of things. So your promotion also needs to be relevant to today's time. Yeah.
And also in the description, you can add on promotion period from when to when,
Oh yeah.
1 month or 2 months, or from now all the way until year end. So
Right.
duration definitely a factor in. Like, and also, I mean, like what you say is like in short, update a bit, right? Be creative and
Yeah.
follow the trend now. So I mean, like the last episode, we also will cover like MiMO Focus. Like if you have 100 overstocks, pick up the first 30. What are the promo that we can put in into this part? All right. This is something that I mean, our account managers and account executive telesales team are working closely with our seller. So, but it will still come to a limit that we can guide our dealer and sales agent,
Yep.
but we always want our dealer to, I mean, come back to us, let us know what kind of promotions or attractive
Yes.
factor that you guys, dealership or sales agent, are trying to throw during this period of time. From there, we can assist you guys, in terms of crafting the descriptions, so it makes more like, I would say that create more urgency. For the sales conversion. So yeah, we
Right.
hope that this opportunity, this episode, dealer and sales agent, tell us what kind of promo that you guys want to run, and from there we will able to assist you to create. To guide you guys to create a better advertisements. Yeah. So talking about Zmod, there's a great things to learn for this whole episode. So I think the last question I really want to ask you, not to forget one thing. What
Right.
is the best way to adjust to CMCO guidelines?
I think this is quite tricky because a lot of times we think that CMCO is something which prevents us from doing a lot of things. Like, so we have to have maximum 2 people in one car. I think today we just announced that maximum 3 people in one car. It prevents us from moving around so much. But if we think of it as a solution, like what we spoke about last week, like how can we turn this into a solution? Look at how companies like Grab Food is now delivering food. Last time, if you think about buying food, right, you just drive out and buy food yourself, right? Now, people are sending food to your house. You buy groceries from Tesco, also same thing. Groceries, Tesco will send to your house as well. So if you think about it in this situation itself, how can we reassure that customer that it's a safe thing and something which you can actually test drive the car in a comfort of where you are right now? So moving with the times today, where everything is being pampered to the consumer. So consumer have all this luxury of being delivered to the house. Have we ever explored the idea that, hey, you know what, maybe can I drive to the consumer's house and let them test drive at their area? Of course, as long as their house not all the way in Perak or something like that, then or unless you're in Perak, then okay lah. But as long as it's not too far away, why not, right?
Yep, definitely. I mean, as we seen from Zmod, testing the car, see the car, there's always a major what's that, contribution towards the buying process.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if let's say we put all of this together, right? It starts with the idea that consumer need to make the decision online to buy that car. Once they made the decision to buy the car online, they'll then call you as a car dealer. Now, once they call you as a car dealer, they find out that, hey, I need to go out to the showroom, safe or not. I go Tesco, so I scared already. Then how about we provide them a solution now that, hey, you know what? Maybe you can actually try it out by sending the car over to the person to test drive at their house, or can reassure the customer that the car is sanitized. You need to give that reassurance to the customer so that at the end of the day itself, during this time, you want to be creative enough to stand up from the rest of the market. You need to reassure customers that, hey, it is safe to buy that car from you.
Yeah, or I mean, definitely driving out the car to the customer is totally, a good approach. However, not all the cars have to drive up. So what can be done? The dealers will, our sales agent ask, Kevin, every car have to drive out. Doesn't need that, right? I would say that could be one of the solution. Or in another situation is, in your advertisements, like get more assurance to the consumer, whereby all these cars have been sanitized. All these kind of words right in there. What are the preparations you have done within your workshop, your within your premises? What are the precaution measurements you have done? So when customer read and everything's like, okay, I still need to find a day. I still need to test the car, and I have confidence to visit this dealership, this showroom. So yeah, this is a part that the dealer also can play a big part. Write this down there. Tell the consumer what are the precaution measurement during CMCO especially. Yep. So, yep, Aaron. So I think Aaron's having some internet connections again. So I think, yeah, it's quite right up for today sessions. All right. So once again, guys, to end this, I would like to take this opportunity to tell our dealer and sales agent who are watching currently. So please make sure, be creative for your advertisements and get more sales during this period of time. Do engage with our account manager, account executive, and telesales team. What kind of promo that you guys will really want to run this month, and we will try to assist to guide you guys the best way to post ads. So that's all for me. If you're interested, please stay tuned for next Friday, same time. There will be episode 3 for Dealer Masterclass. Once again, thanks everyone. I'm Calvin, head of sales from Carlis.my. Thank you, and have a great weekend, and have a great evening. Bye-bye.